Whakalofalahi atu, malo lelei, taloha ni, namaste, hello ogeta, talofa lava, and nisabula. Koko Chats is very grateful to have on this episode Marina Taylor, an incredible Niuean Samoan business and professional consultant, entrepreneur and networking queen. Marina shares with us her upbringing where she learned how to hustle and the different experiences she had helped to shape and inspire towards where she is today. I'm your Usoan host, Danté Fyfe. Let's get into it. Whakalofalahi atu, Marina, talofa lava. Thank you very much for joining us here at Koko Chats. Like I said, it's us coming together as Pacific people. We want to have conversations about everything to do with money. But like I always do, we want to try to delve back in time. And it might be a wee while back.
Not that far. Not that far.
Probably just seems like yesterday. But we want to go back and talk about your childhood, the way you grew up. Whaftai lava.
Whaftai lava. Danté, tēnā koutou katoa, talofa lava, whakahalawhalahi atu, back to you, and thanks for having me here today. It's really awesome to come along to see what you're doing and unpacking these conversations that I think is really important to have and to talk about. So, born in Tāmaki Makaurau in Okilangi and raised in Otetahi, so Christchurch from 11 months old. So this has been
Yes.
Has been the only city that I've known not that long ago, a few years ago. And growing up, went to school here. School's now gone, and high school actually. I went out to school in the country, out at Rangiora New Life.
Wow.
So it was affiliated with our church. So the church we went to, that was where all the kids were being sent. So Mum said, well, we're going to send you there. The thing is, talking about money, it's quite expensive to go to the school, because it wasn't a public school.
Private, yeah.
So it was private and rural. So to sit school C, our fifth formers and above would have to go to Rangiora High School to sit those exams. Anyway, so that was the school we went to, which is like quite a wee way out of North Canterbury. And we lived in Aranui. So, you know, the best part of, it's the path to greatness.
It's very different communities.
Very different communities. But the beauty of Christchurch is that the housing, like state housing, was placed everywhere.
Yeah.
So it was scattergunned everywhere. And so even though Aranui is where a lot of our Pasifika Māori congregated and lived in different pockets, but that's where we grew up anyway. So that was where life was until I finished intermediate, and then it was up to Tāmaki. And then went to 3 different schools. So that was back in the days. You might not remember. Cast your mind back to, there were 3 terms.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I'm a fossil. I look good for 100. But 3 terms of school. First term I went to Tangaroa College, which is where my cousin was going, and so I was staying with my auntie at the time and went to that school. Absolutely awful. So remember, I came from Christian school, no swearing, nothing, to Tangaroa College was like school of hard knocks. And I thought, wow, where am I? So that was really tough to try and integrate into that environment. And then I said to my mum, you need to get me out of the school. She sent me to Marcelin College, which is around Mount Roskill. Completely different. But I thought, okay, this is getting back to, was Catholic school. And then third term, Aranui High School. So we moved back to Christchurch. So it was a little bit up and down in terms of where we lived, what we did for various reasons. And came back to Otetahi and stayed with my auntie who was living in Aranui as well at the time. And all of her kids were going to Aranui High School, so that's where we went. And that was it for the rest of my school years. And then that's where my first job, the first role that my first employment was out of Aranui High School. That's where I was really inspired to, this is what I want to do. Even though I'd seen what our families had done, where my mum was, where they had come from, was like, yeah, I'm not going to be doing that.
What were they doing?
So they were Lane Walker Rudkin. That's where my mum was, which was a hosiery factory. So they made like stockings. They were really funky. Think Cyndi Lauper. All of the different styles. So you had like pink stockings, hosiery.
80s, yeah.
Yeah, they made all of those. So the socks, the full stockings, and
And was a lot of our Pacific people working in that factory?
In Lane Walker Rugton at the time, that's when my mum was, yeah. So she was working there. She had done that work up until then she was into caregiving. So she switched from that to looking after people like home help and also cleaning.
Yes.
So which I think a lot of our community are great
Yeah.
in the cleaning space.
Yes. And where does the Niuean and the Samoan blood come from?
So mum's villages are Savai, so we've got Sasinga, Safutu, and then on Upolu, her villages, through my grandmother. So yeah, my granddad's line is Te Savai, my grandmother's line. My mum's mum is in Upolu, so my mum's line is Paliasitu and Sale'imoa. And then my dad's line is the one that hails from Niue. So even his surname, so my maiden is Paia or Paia, and so that a lot of people think, oh, that's a Tongan name. I'm like, no, it's actually a Niue name. So that's where my roots are, and my villages in Niue are Avaseli, Purple, and Haukupu. But I'm learning more about my Niuean heritage and roots.
Okay.
So we didn't grow up because my grandfather died young.
Right.
So my dad's one of 11.
Wow.
And so his dad died when my auntie, his youngest sister, was 6 months old. And so my grandmother had to raise all of like my dad's siblings.
Were they in Niue?
And no, they lived in her village, which is Letongo. But my dad's father, he hails from Niue, and his father was born in Avaseli, in Niue. Yeah.
So when did your parents immigrate to New Zealand?
Mum was 62, and I know that because that was when Samoan independence was. So 62, she came. So we think about how ironic.
Yeah.
Samoa was independent. But
then she moves here.
Yeah, so her independence, because she was very close with her father.
Right.
And so she moved to come and help her sister, support her sister. Her sister had quite a few, just was like families back then. She was working, her and her husband, but they had kids and a Catholic.
Yeah.
Big Catholic family.
Yeah, big families, yeah.
So I think they used to swap over a lot.
Yes.
Was what Mum used to say. So when my auntie would fall pregnant, she would take maternity, and then my mum would swap out with her and go and work at Label Corrector. And they would just swap like that. And then when my auntie would return back after maternity, my mum would then look after the kids. So she kind of, that was her beginning. And my dad came through from actually our Niuean family. So my great-grandfather's sister, she really loved her younger brother, which is my great-grandfather in Niue. And so when she found out that he had passed, she asked her daughter to go and bring my dad's side to New Zealand. So they were living in Parnell. There were quite a few Niueans that were based there, was that line of the family.
Yeah.
And so that's where they started. So they came through, two of my aunties came through first, and then my dad came, and then he worked hard, brought the rest of the family across.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot on their shoulders back then. A lot of responsibility when we think about what we have grown up with. And that's why I'm constantly saying don't waste the sweat of their brow for all the work that they've done. Yeah, it's on us to just keep that, do better. And don't waste the efforts that they've made. Because, we talk about struggle. I'm not saying it's not a struggle and it's all relative, but then you think bringing the pressure of bringing your family across, that's a lot to sit on.
I feel like a lot of those, like my generation, maybe even your generation and the younger ones, we don't know enough of those stories to really understand and feel grateful for what that generation, all of those guys that came in the 50s and 60s especially, or even earlier, what they went through for us to be here and settled today. It's just we probably need to get more of those stories out there.
Absolutely.
But going back, so you mentioned your mum was working at a hosiery factory, but what about your dad? What was your dad doing?
So he was Meatworks.
Okay, yeah.
So he
in
was
Christchurch.
Christchurch, and then he was pulled down to moved down to Invercargill.
Wow.
Because he could do the translations, so they were bringing a lot of lot of our community were coming across, but they were like, who can we get to train? So he moved, they took him from Christchurch down to Invercargill, and he was down there for a year. But he also played in a band.
Mm.
So there's a hotel in Bluff called Eagle Hotel, and so his band used to play there. His band consisted of him, his brother, and his aunt. They were like two brothers.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, they would meet works by day and Baby Blue on the Galana by night.
Hotel California at
Eagle
night.
Hotel.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
what was he? What did he play? Like, was he on?
So he was guitar. He was
Yeah.
guitar. He was an amazing guitarist.
Vocalist as well.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I guess they
So
would have all probably.
there was I feel like there were a lot of bands, like a lot of, it was musical,
Yeah.
you know, so that never stopped. But he was also in a band in his village,
Oh right.
yeah, which was called the Faula Band. Yeah, they sang, it was all Samoan songs, so that made sense that wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
The minute they come to New Zealand, probably kept the culture alive that way too.
What year did he come over?
So he was here similar time.
Yeah, 62.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, they split when I was quite young, so I didn't actually grow up with my dad.
Yeah.
I grew up with my mum,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
so she was very much dual role.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did a lot.
Because I just going to on the whole band, and my mum was a singer,
Was she?
apparently in her late teens maybe, and it was her, I think a cousin and then a friend. I think it was something like that, but it was three of them, and they used to sing in Otahuhu, in Otahu, way back. It must have been the early 80s or something like that, early to mid 80s.
Wow.
And it's just random that in a lot of our Samoan and
Yes.
Pacific families, there were just these singers and musicians back in the day. I wonder,
And dancers.
Yeah.
Like cultural groups, dancing, performers.
Yeah, I wonder if a lot of that came from church. Like if I think about the people that I know that can play instruments or really good singers, a lot of them have learnt and done that through church. I think, a lot of the ones that I know. I wonder if that's a thing, eh? Because I wouldn't imagine if your family wasn't musical, do you put an emphasis on your kids doing, like learning the piano or something like that? Probably not, unless they need to like fill a gap at church, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where they would, but I know that my family was quite musical. Like my dad's dad was musical. His father brought the mandolin into the village from Niue. So yeah, the mandolin.
Yeah, random.
I know, right? So random. But when you talk about the stories of old, it would be so good to get those stories, which is lost once it's gone. So it's good to capture,
Yeah.
while people can
Yes.
capture these stories from our elders. It's great.
And what was your first job? You mentioned getting your first job when you were in Aranui, living in Aranui.
Yeah, or even sparked on this is what I want to do.
Oh, okay.
So thinking about, so many students have an idea of what they want to do. When they ask the question, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to be a fireman. I want to be a... So my mum's friends pegged me for a lawyer because I couldn't stop chatting. And, that might come as a shock to you. Chat all their chatterbox. So they had, she's going to be a lawyer. She'll go out and she'll be defending. So I used to, even as a child, I was quite vocal in my street. And we were in a cul-de-sac.
Right.
And so I call it United Nations.
Okay.
So we had right next door a Dutch family. Next door to them was an Irish family. And then we had just a real mix.
Yeah.
So we had Samoans until the dawn raids, and then they were abracadabra disappeared, left everything as it was, and they just left.
Wow.
The place was just left, so they were on the run. And then
I want to come back to that. I
Okay.
want to circle back to that. Yes.
Circle
yes.
back.
Yes.
Pin that,
Yeah.
we'll be back.
Yeah.
And then, so just around the neighbourhood, it was so many different, in our cul-de-sac, just so many different families from different walks that it just, there was this buffet of all different perspectives. But the being vocal was, came quite early. It felt natural.
So they were pegging you to be a lawyer, but what did you want to do?
So I did think about law because I feel like there's so much influence that comes from around us. But I think also there's a knowing internally, but it has to develop out, I feel. So looking at, was lawyer? Yes, lawyer could have been it, but I also wasn't really fixed on it. I was just more about survival for one, when you think about not having enough food, not having enough, these are the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the basic needs weren't really there. And so that's when they're not really there, that's your focus. It's like, when am I eating next? So these sorts of things take priority in your mind versus what am I going to do as a career later in life. But in by high school, I sort of had already moved to 3 schools. So this was the 3rd school that I was at. And that was 3rd form. And I was being introduced to my home class on the 3rd term. So relationships were already built out of Nui, so it's quite hard. And because I never went to Chisnawood, which most people did go to Chizzy,
Yes.
I didn't have the relationships built, so I really went in fresh.
Yeah.
But friends that I'm really tight with today were friends from I don't know, well, all the different schools.
3rd form.
3rd form.
Wow.
3rd form. I know, 3rd. 3rd form.
Oh no, meaning like wow, that's strong connections built.
Yes.
From a
I'm
very
still,
young age.
even from Rangi Ora New Life, I'm still quite close with friends that I've been friends with from 8 years old.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
we still, yeah, even now.
Yeah.
And they've come from some interesting backgrounds as well. So, but yeah, just think about those relational spaces, relationships, building good relationships, and keeping us grounded and strong. So, but yeah, the first job I actually had, like I don't know if you go official job or unofficial job, but even as young as like delivering circulars. You know, my brother was doing the milk run, we were doing circulars, which I found totally boring, like bored me to death, that I would be like, so I thought, okay, this is not it. And so that's where I think I sort of started thinking, well, what else could I be doing instead of this? And then into high school, it wasn't until my cousin had actually taken us. I was babysitting as well. So I remember babysitting for this Russian woman.
Okay.
2 kids.
Interesting.
Really random.
Yeah.
Really random.
United Nations.
Yeah, United Nations. And then she just referred. So referrals started happening quite young. I understood the art of referral,
Yes.
the art of networking, but also the art of quality service. So whatever you deliver, so it's like going above and beyond. How much do you charge for this? Like, it was nothing. And then what do you do if it's overnight? And then I would add. So I'd definitely add like double for the overnight rate. If I just stay overnight, this is what it's going to cost. But I would do things like, clean dishes, all the things that babysitters wouldn't typically be expected to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, and have hangover cure for her in the morning. But yeah, that was my first, earliest memories of jobs. That was it. Used to recycle bottles.
Oh, okay.
So I remember going with my cousins and we'd do a wheelbarrow down Pages Road.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thinking, I just had that thought.
Was it 5 cents?
Or something.
Yeah.
But you have Leeds, Double R, there was all these L&P, all the old bottles.
Yeah.
Glass
bottles, yeah.
Throw it into the wheelbarrow.
Down the street.
Wheelbarrow it down Pages Road.
Wow.
Not a side street, main road.
Main road.
Here we are. Pushing us down. It's like, that was what you did to make money.
It's ingenuity.
To get lollies.
Yep.
To put it in some really, invest in some quality, healthy food. So that was, we take that to the dairy. But those are early memories of.
How old were you?
I would have been, I feel like I was young. Like around 9, 8. My cousin had
And the babysitting?
the babysitting, 11, 12. It's quite young.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow.
but back in the day you could leave.
But you were learning to hustle at
very
8 or
young.
9.
Yes, very young. Very, very young.
Wow.
But I feel like you do, I think about what's the gift in it. So whatever the situation is, no matter what it is, there's always a gift in it. And I think about the gift in that was, those who have made, if you look at the stats, I don't know what they are exactly, but those who make a lot, if you're measuring it on financials, this type of thing, didn't necessarily come from the academia route or come from those sort of conventional ways that people would deem successful, the successful route. So, I definitely think that those habits or those skills were being honed even then, even if I didn't know it at the time.
Yeah.
But on reflection, it's like, that was why.
Wow.
But
Just want to circle back while I remember, is you mentioned dawn raids in your street.
Yeah.
See, I have a very, very limited understanding of the dawn raids. Mine just comes from my own family's experience in South Auckland, which was Nana suggesting that, Nana saying that she knew of people in other churches, but it didn't affect anyone in her church, no one in her family, no one that she knew directly. it was other people from other churches that got caught up in the dawn raids in South Auckland. Where my limited knowledge comes in is that I didn't realise that there were dawn raids here in Ōtautahi. Wow.
Yeah.
And even I had a talk to Fyfe, and you know, he wasn't too sure. So it's interesting to hear that, you know.
Our next door neighbours. So where we
Wow.
were was
Wow.
like, you know, state housing, 2-story state houses.
Yeah.
Our whole cul-de-sac was state housing on the circle piece.
Yes.
And then it went to 1-story. And we always thought, oh, the people that live in like 1-story houses.
Rich.
Yeah. And then we had like a crescent behind us, and they were all 1-story. So we were like, the rich people live in the street behind us. We're so rich. The perception
Wow.
was that. And yet, the neighbours, our neighbours were Samoan.
Wow.
Samoan, and they were there, and then they were not.
Wow.
And so there was obviously a heads up that they were coming.
Oh,
And so
okay.
they were either
So they got themselves.
they were either taken at dawn or in the middle of the night, or so everything was still there. Nothing had changed, or they had taken off, or we were just told, oh, they've just moved, because you know, trying to protect the children, not let them know that something scary like that has happened in the middle of the night. But yeah, most likely they were taken out.
Wow. Wow. Did any of your family, because I remember this for Nana, did any of your family, like your mum, sister, or your mum at some point, or any cousins and things like that, did they ever own their own homes? They immigrated in 1962. Did any, like, did your mum's sister,
Yeah.
like, tell
So
me
my
more
mum's-
about that
Yeah,
side
so
of things?
and even then, I wish we had those stories, and my cousins would be able to speak to it more than I could. But they had, so the house in Aranui that my auntie lived in, her and her husband, they bought their own home, and this is the thing, I think there was a time where that was actually the norm. So I do look at it, and even when you were putting the stats up at yesterday's Pineapple and Pie and networking, I wonder like what happened happened in that dip, because they were owning homes at one point.
Yes.
When they cost like $1, no. But at one point, but it's all again relative. But then there's a dip, so I'm not sure what's gone on in between. Is my mother's sister, all of my mother's sisters, they all and brothers all own their own homes.
Right. And do you know when, like, what years those might have
Those
been?
were the 50s. They came in
The
the 50s.
50s?
They came in the 50s. Yeah, so my mother's older sister, so my mum's of the younger lot of the family.
Yes.
So she's also from a big family, and she's from the younger sort of
Almost
side.
like a second wave, yeah.
Second wave, that's where she's from. So she's from the second wave, whereas the elder one's the one she was sent to help with her children, raise her children. She was already in her own home, living in their own home in Aranui. So,
Wow.
and then my auntie was in her own home, so who I'm named after, Auntie Marina. And she, funnily enough, side story, but we'll come back to that. But she used to do a lot of dancing. So she did a lot of dancing. She's the one that had her own business down in Woolston on Ferry Road. She opened up her own health spa, and she was, you know, bringing in, like, she really was so proudly Samoan, and she would just bring the culture across. So for like the proper way of massage, and she would have that happening at her health spa, and then she also danced. So she was part of a dancing group, which Many was part of as well.
Yes, you've told me this.
And also Lana's mum was in that trio. So there was my auntie, Lana's mum, and another woman. But we're trying to find this other woman. Can we add that into this? Who does can we do a
Missing
call?
persons
Missing person?
poster?
Does
Yeah.
anybody know? And then I'll send you the photo.
Yeah,
So you
okay.
can see.
Yeah,
who
why not?
we can't find this third lady.
Wow.
But yeah, so from a home ownership perspective, all of my mum's siblings own their own home.
Yeah.
We were the only ones that were living in state housing because of what ended up happening. But my mum and dad did have their own home up in Otara.
Wow.
So when I was born,
So, okay. What sort of years? It would have been in the 60s. I mean, the 80s. I mean, the 80s.
in the 90s, in the 90s, but it was 70s.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
early 70s.
Wow. Because I normally tell the story that my Samoan grandparents, my nana and papa, they immigrated in 57 to Okilani, and they bought their first home in Mangere in 1960.
Okay, so it
And
wasn't.
it's just- yeah. So what I'm,
Yes,
I
yes.
guess I'm sort of thinking, wow, whether it be Okilani or Tautahi, there were Pacific people owning homes
Yes.
in the sort of 50s
50s.
through to maybe the early 60s, and then into the early 70s in Otara for your parents. Yeah, wow. Very different times for sure. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And I think they had like 60s, 50s. Yeah, my auntie who came across, the first one who came across came in 50s, early 50s, and she lived in Parnell. So my great-grandfather's older sister lived there with her husband, and their son was the first premier of Niue.
Wow.
So yeah, Robert Rees. He was their son. So they lived there, and then she sent for my dad's sister to come, and so he came across and lived with her daughter. Yeah, so there was a lot that went on that I wish someone had documented, or
Yeah.
yeah.
Going back a little bit, you mentioned how your mum and was very close to her sister, and they wanted you to be a lawyer. I'm always interested in finding out what our Pacific people, what sort of money conversations our Pacific people were having when we're young. Was there anything that your mum or your auntie shared with you about? Yeah,
No,
it's
no.
very common, eh?
It didn't really feature. Just that I think the impression I always had was there wasn't enough of it. So there was definitely a deficit and a scarcity mindset around money, finances. It was, yeah, there was nothing was talked about around money. And actually, I think about my mum would say money is the root of all evil. So she would say that, not, but I just remember that statement, like money is the root of all evil. And I remember my youngest would say to me, oh, just like mum used to say, money is the root of all evil. And I think, oh, I don't think it is. That's just my impression of it. It's nice to have, but we just didn't have, we didn't have any of it, or enough of it.
Which is probably like, do you think that scarcity that you had growing up really pushed you and your, did you say your brothers to collect those bottles, to get
cousins.
those, your
Yeah,
cousins,
cousins.
sorry, yeah.
I mean,
Gather those bottles at age 8 or 9 and go hustle.
figure out a way. Figure out a way. So it's either going to be through, through ways and means of, rightly or wrongly, but there's going to be a way. There's going to be a way to figure out how can you improve your situation for whatever it is that you need. And it's a fine line. It's a fine line, and we can end up in either way or either side at any time, depending on the situation. But I think as well, your beliefs, your values come into play, obviously. But at that time, when I think about, on reflection, there's a lot of rich learnings.
Yes.
And I think about, that's the gift of struggle. The gift of struggle and scarcity and deficit of not having means that you will become more resourceful to figure out how.
100%.
What's the way? How can I? More than, I think, somebody who's got it.
Yeah.
Who was handed it.
Yeah.
There's not, the struggle's not there, there may be other struggles there.
Yeah.
So it's not like, no one's
Creates that
struggle free.
hunger. Yeah. Creates that hunger, creates that hustle mindset.
Yeah.
How did you, you learn these lessons of hustle and add-ons for babysitting on staying the night, but good service and things like that. How did you learn money management? Where did that come? Did it come through your teens? Did you kind of get a better grasp into your early 20s? Like, where did that come from, that learning? You obviously knew how to make money.
Yeah, I knew how to make it, but I didn't know how to retain it.
Yes.
And I didn't know how to grow it.
Yes.
So I had no idea. So if I was to go back and say, I would say, hold it, and I would say, buy the house. Because I got to a point where I was saving and I wanted to get a house.
Yeah.
And I think about that's another part is be careful who you take advice from. Be careful who you take advice from. So there's a book out. There's a book I read one time and I was so addicted to it called The Richest Man in Babylon. Have you read it?
No, I haven't, but I've heard it. Yes.
Really,
heard of it. Yes.
really cool book.
Yeah.
And at one point, this guy had saved up all these like literally life savings, gave the money to, let's say, like a plumber who was going over to India and said, can you buy some jewels? I'll bring it back and I can make some money from these. So resell them here. I'll sell them here. And they went across, came back and brought coloured glass. So I was like, why are you giving a plumber all your life savings? Like a massive risk. So do your homework, do your due diligence, make sure that you're taking advice from those who actually know. and an expert in their field.
Yes.
So I remembered speaking to a guy and said to him, I really want to get a house. Oh, well, you're going to be sunk in debt. So that was his perspective, but it influenced me not doing it. And I was at the time 20.
Yeah.
I was 20.
Right.
And ready to get into to buy a home. And it just stopped me. So I didn't have any other reference. You know, families that come through, my mum owned a home, my grandparents owned a home, you already have the blueprint. So you know the way, whereas not having...
What's his background? Plumber?
So he actually owned homes. So that's why I was asking, but it was his perspective on it though. So his perspective on it was a deficit mindset of like, you're going to be stuck in debt. Just be careful, you're going to be stuck in debt. And that could have been his impression of me. Maybe, I'm not sure. Maybe like, oh, Pasifika, I'm not sure. You know, Christchurch, when it was like back then, well, it's just more subtle these days. Not so out there in your face.
Yes. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess you would have learnt a lot at that age of 20 to set you on a certain path. And what path was that? What path did you end up taking?
So the
from
path
his
I ended up
advice?
taking, well, I didn't. So
Buy
I was
a house.
I didn't buy a house from it, but I ended up relocating, moving up to Auckland because my partner at the time was in Burnham.
Yeah.
And got posted to Land Force Command,
Right.
Takapuna.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's where I moved and relocated at 21.
Wow.
And we moved. Yeah, so we moved, but I was already working for a computer training company here at that time. But even to go back before that, you know, where did I want to go and what did I want to do in terms of that home ownership piece sort of just went on the back burner. That went on the back burner because, I mean, army housing, dirt cheap,
Yes.
doesn't cost, doesn't cost a heck of a lot of money anyway. So that was great to move into that, and then I just studied travel and tourism. That's where I wanted to go into, and I was like, I'd already come through a failed, botched training course through, you know, the courses back in the freebie days through Christchurch Academy,
Oh, okay.
and our tutor got sacked. So then I was like, okay, that was 2 weeks before we were graduating. Yep, a whole bunch of people came in the room and said, your tutor won't be here, he's been sacked effective immediately, you won't be graduating, you haven't covered the right criteria. Even though we'd handed assignments, we'd gone up to Kaikoura, we did a FMIL, we did all these things that would be travel-related work. So I was thinking, what did he actually teach us? Because we were doing assignments and everything. Not sure.
Wow.
We were busy, like we were, you know, during the course. It wasn't, we weren't sitting twiddling thumbs or going to the movies.
They couldn't cross-credit anything. They
Nothing.
just threw the
They
whole
just gave
thing
us
out.
a record of learning for the modules we covered.
Oh.
And they said you can take that to the next institute and then see what you can do for the rest of it. But yeah, it was pretty much, no, sorry.
Wow.
They said, we really cannot go to you. And I said, that's how we're going to for you go. So advocacy's always been there. Like, everyone, let's
How
go.
did you not end up
Let's
as a
go
lawyer?
to fair go. Right? I feel like that was always sitting there. And then I can kind of, when I look back, I think, yeah, now I see why they were saying
Yes.
she should go to law. Yes, yeah. And I remember my cousin always saying, like, she's got the gift of the gab.
You do.
Got the gift of the gab.
Yeah. I think I've said it to you many times that, you know, I've heard you speak at workshops, seminars, as a facilitator or a deliverer of a particular workshop. And there's always something new I learn. Every time
Yeah.
I learn something new. But yeah, let's just hit into those years in your 20s.
Yeah.
Because I know where you are now.
Yes.
You know, as a Pasifika business owner, a woman entrepreneur, and I want to know the journey.
Yes.
I want to know, you talked about failed, you know,
True
tertiary
course.
learning,
Yeah.
but I want to know where to from there to get you where you are today.
Yeah.
As a business owner, I've known you for a few years now, and I want to know the journey.
Yeah.
You know, how does someone end up where you are?
Yeah, so I think the thing is for me is understanding, like having a real strong vision and understanding of what's the end goal look like, where do I actually want to be or where do I want to go. So painting that picture or having that vision for yourself of where do you want to be in 10 years, 20 years, what does it look like?
So you did that in your early 20s, because I got to admit, I was a mess in my early 20s. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was studying at uni. I should have never been there. I should have gone to Polytech or something like that, or I should have just worked.
Yeah.
Were you
But think
quite
about-
motivated and visionary
Yeah.
in your early
Yeah.
20s, wow.
Very
That's
much so.
awesome.
And I think it comes on you, and I talked about before about struggle. So when we were going to Rangiora New Life, just going back to, this is like 9, 10, 11, we got pulled out of primary school, which is Wainoni Primary, and then sent off to Rangiora New Life. But that time, Mum was cleaning, so our church was, we were at New Life, Majestic House,
Yes.
which was in the theatre at the time, not where it is now, obviously in Durham Street.
Yeah, I do remember the theatre.
Across the road from Dan's.
Yes. Well, I don't remember the dance. Yeah, it might be even before my
Dan's,
time.
the old Dan's. So in that theatre, there's 2 floors. Like you got the ground floor, or the auditorium, you got a theatre. If we missed the bus, which we often did, we would be walking. I feel like, oh, back in the day when we used to walk. So when we would walk to catch the school bus, we'd walk from Aranui, from Wainoni, over to Panel.
Right.
Panel.
Yeah,
over by Beerwood.
I know
By
the
Beerwood.
one. Yeah.
So we'd walk around the river.
Right.
We would walk, especially in winter because it was freezing. We would actually run to the bus, and then sometimes we'd watch the van go. We got up late, we'd watch the van take off, and it would be like crushing. Not crushing because we wasted our time walking there, but crushing because we knew what the alternative
You were
was.
going to get crushed.
We were going to, if you missed the bus, you had to go to work with Mum.
Oh.
So you either choose to get to the bus on time, what an incentive. Get on the bus on time, or you're going to work with Mum. So when you're going in and you're cleaning those seats, every seat in that auditorium,
Wow.
and you've got a mother who's quite high standards, everything was like, it must be perfect. So it's not just like, oh, that's good. No, it was like, it has to be done to a certain level and to a certain standard. She would come and check and make sure that everything was bang on, and you don't want to repeat.
Yeah.
So you would just go through and make sure everything, when you're going through that mission, I think somewhere inside is like, there's got to be better than this. Something better than this.
Yes.
Whatever it is, it's just got to be better than
Yeah.
what I'm doing. So that helped to carve out what I'm definitely not going to be doing when I grow up. Or when I,
And that, the thing with a lot of our Pacific people that move here from the islands is they don't want their kids to be doing what they're
No, they
doing.
don't.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, a lot of the time. So yeah, well, and it probably goes to show that you learnt good service
Yes.
at an early age.
Yeah.
Yes, and then it helped towards your vision
A
in
lot.
your early 20s.
Yes, to
be
help propel it.
yes,
Quicker.
I'm not going this way.
No.
I want to go
I
this
want to
way.
go this way.
Yeah.
And it's that same thing. Do you want to miss the bus? Or do you want to... It's like, where is that bus?
Are you running to the bus?
Are you running to the bus? Once you make the bus, go
Yes.
for it.
Yeah.
Or the alternative is go back to the cleaning.
Yeah.
That was never in my mind, never going to be an option.
Yeah.
But I think about, not that there's anything wrong with it, because I got challenged on that quite a lot, and from my mum as well. So my sister went to the fisheries and she got a job. She was working at fisheries because she dropped out of school, wasn't for her. But mum said, you're not sitting around. So she went and
Good.
she got a job in the fisheries and then helped with obviously running the house. And then came and brought her money to share and show. And I came that same day. I was actually with my cousin going to see her boyfriend, her friend, who worked for Qantas, and that's where I got the dream of. That's where the seed was sown of. I'm going to get into travel.
Yes, hospitality.
I
and
couldn't
tourism.
believe that you could travel for free. I was like, what? You can jump on a plane and travel for free because no one travelled.
I think about all the travel you do right now.
Right?
All of your stories on the plane.
Crazy.
Seems like every week.
Planes.
I could see this now, a link between your early 20s and your teens.
Yeah.
All the way through now. Yes.
And travel. And I went into travel. Well, I did the course here that didn't pan out, and then went to AIS, so Tamaki,
Yeah.
went to Auckland Institute of Studies, St Helens campus in St Luke's for a year because I said I need squash, I need accelerated learning, and so that was, they said, what's diploma 2 years, but actually it's crammed into one, so you have basically know nothing. So 2 trains every day there, 2 trains back every day because I couldn't drive.
Yes.
I learned to drive on the Auckland motorway. That was fun. And an Austin Princess.
I really hope that Auckland motorways were a lot more
No,
patient back
no,
then.
no. I don't think they've ever been. But it was great learning. Again, out of
Yeah,
the struggle with the
yeah,
gifters.
yeah.
Then I come down here and I'm like, what
So
is everyone
slow.
doing here?
Yeah.
What is everyone
So
doing here?
slow.
That was the best way to learn. Yeah. And great gearing me up for driving in Samoa too.
Yeah.
My cousin's like, you drive like a local. I'm scared. But yeah, that was a real eye-opener on what I don't want to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we get in life. Like you go and hit things, different situations happen, and then you take something out of that and you decide to either go the same way or go somewhere different. But for me, I knew once I found out, oh, you can fly for free. Oh, if you work in this industry, that's where I did that. The mathing was 1 + 1 =, that's where I'm going.
Yeah. Equals window.
Yeah.
So did you get into that line of work
Yeah.
specific?
I went straight into travel,
Wow.
straight in there, and I went for 2 jobs. So I went for a job that I was actually qualified to do, but entry level marketing,
Okay.
and then I also went for a team leader role in the same company.
In your early 20s.
So I sent exactly the same CV, same
Awesome.
envelope, everything, and then they called saying, you do realise you applied for 2 jobs? Yes. One you're not even qualified for? Yes. One you may be qualified for? Yes. Why did you send 2 CVs? Because I thought that might pique your interest. You might ring me, and it looks like I worked. And they said, come see us on Monday.
Yes.
So I went and sat down with them on Monday, had a chat with them, and that was it, got the job.
Where was this?
That was at a place called ASPAC,
Okay.
and they were on Dominion Road. So you know Mount Eden, Dominion Road.
Yeah.
They had 3 villas in a row. They had 2 villas, and then they expanded into a 3rd villa, and then they just grew so big that we ended up on Great North Road. So if you know where McDonald's is on Great North Road, K Road goes into Great North.
No, K Road.
You know K Road, so if you take K Road towards Grayland,
Okay. Yeah.
it becomes Great
Oh,
North Road.
right. Okay.
Yeah, where Mena is on, if you know Mena, your shop.
I haven't been there, but I've ordered off their online
Yeah.
shop. Yes.
So there, that's where we ended up moving to.
Mm.
We had like 3 of us Pasifika, actually 4 Pasifika, and the whole team of 50. I think we had about 50
What was Aspect doing?
wholesale.
Oh.
Triple wholesale. So they said usually start in retail and move to wholesale. I just went straight to wholesale. Straight from
Of course you
wholesale.
did.
And then I got my free flight. Well, many free flights. But it was like, oh, okay. And then once I got there, I was like, okay, next.
Well, that's yeah. Because when you initially said marketing job, I thought, how are you going to get some free travel out of that? But it's the bonuses that came with
The
the job.
meals were crazy. They used to have like Hawaii 5-0 deals that would come from, actually it was called TAT. Like staff travel was called TAT.
Okay.
And so they would come and send out deals like every week. You got different deals for industry.
Yeah.
And one of the deals I remembered was Hawaii 5-0. So for $50 you go to Hawaii. Go.
Wow.
It was great. Like early 20s.
Wow.
No commitment.
Did you take the army lad with you?
He ended up going to Baghdad for 6 months. That's another conversation
Wow.
for another day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he ended up in Iraq. And that was, for 6 months.
Was that in the 90s or 2000s?
That was in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was in the
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah. Wow.
And then that spelt the end of,
Yeah.
the beginning of the end.
Long distance.
And affected, like especially, coming back a very different person. And I grew up, got super independent in that 6 months.
I'm travelling.
What are you doing at my house? Okay, what are you doing at my house? That detail's not hanging in the right window. All the small things.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so you had a really good.
Yeah.
I mean, you set it in your mind. I want to get into that line of work.
I want to fly for free. Whatever the motivation was, it was just like, how can you fly for free? This is unheard of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have even thought.
That's
and
amazing.
I think also defying what my mum's expectation was a little bit. Because when I got home that day after learning about this, I wanted to tell her what I'd just discovered. Like, wow, you can fly for free. And my sister had come back with her pay packet. So that was the focus of the conversation, and then I couldn't say anything. But I'm quite vocal. So you can see it on my face even if I'm not saying something. And so my mum looks at my face, thinking she's reading into it something very different, and said, don't worry, one day you will also go to the fisheries and you can contribute to the house. And then I couldn't hold it. I said, I'm not going to the fisheries.
Yeah.
Not today, no. I'm not going to the fisheries. And then it just, this big
Right.
debate unfolded.
I think that's a very common situation. It comes up for our families, Our Pacific families, where it's a balance between contributing to the household but also chasing your own personal dreams.
And is it any wonder that now that the work that I'm doing is intersecting
Yes.
what are your natural talents and what are you passionate for, to that can also be profitable for
Yeah.
you, your family, community. Yeah. So there's no surprise. There's a definite correlation between that. I think that's super cool.
Yes.
Because I think it's on the back of the learnings that we have gone through
Yeah.
to do what we're doing today. It's definitely influenced it.
It just made me think, like, our parents and grandparents may not see, it's hard for them to see our vision. You know, they just see what's in front of them.
Yeah.
And it's hard to, I know how passionate, you know, you and I can be on certain things. So I would have loved to be a fly on your wall during that conversation. But so that was that your first taste, yes, of travel, but your first taste of like a real job, corporate style, because it was obviously a commercial, private business, for profit. You know, how did you move from there?
Because that wasn't my first job. I had done a lot of training, learning. My first actual job, when I think about a job that I'd gone to that I hadn't generated, like I generated babysitting myself. I generated, you know, those kinds of jobs that were sort of after school type jobs. The first job I had was actually, I lasted a day.
Here we go.
We're going into jobs. I feel like
here we go.
So there was a clothes presser job that had come up. And somebody said, hey, you should go to this job. It's working in it and you press clothes and that's it. You're just standing and pressing clothes. And I was like, oh, how hard can this be? So I got in there. I said, look, we'll trial you for that. I said, great. So I go and press the clothes. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. Then I end up going into the smoko break. It's like a manufacturing environment. So the minute the whistle goes, you need to move. But I was still like, had some coffee in my cup. So I'm finishing my coffee in my cup. And then I got told off about, you need to go back to the station. So I rushed because they said, we need to have this brick finished by lunch. I'm like, oh, okay. So then I'm panicking, I'm anxiety. I'm panicking and I'm like, oh, I've got to go quick but quality. So quick quality, and on one, I must have pressed it a little bit too long. There's a hole in the cashmere woolen jacket. And I was like, oh, and then I put it in the rack and hid it. I know. Shocking. Sorry, I don't know if that place is still going, but it was me. Like I said, it was me. And at the end of the day, they said to me, how did you find today went? And I said, I don't think that I'm cut out for this thing. I don't think I'll be back. And they said, yeah, we agree.
We agree.
Give me my payment. And I left. So I think out of that, it's like, great, we mutually agree. I'm thinking, I'm never coming back. This is just not. And again, it was another pointer of what I definitely don't want to be doing.
Yes.
That's not what I want to be doing. And so, I think about that was the first actual
job
that I got a pay packet for from an established business one day. One day. It's great if you can figure it out and get off it as quick as possible. Beautiful. And then I moved on to door to door.
Yes.
So that was actually door to door straight out of school.
Door to door?
Like commission sales only.
Wow. How old were you?
17, 18.
Doing door to door?
Door to door.
How open were people back in those days?
No, they were. We were told to F off. We were told to. People would scream at me. That's why I think I've got a pretty thick skin. Thick skin.
Yeah.
And my family is savage, and they just roll back. Everyone's got full opinions, and nobody's going to mince words. You know exactly where everybody stands.
I guess door to door probably hasn't changed that much then, eh?
Best learning.
Yeah.
I think it was the best learning.
Commission jobs really teach you.
Yes, they do.
They really teach you how to work.
Yeah, they definitely do. So I think part of that hustle and grind is, and also understanding the numbers. So we would always talk about law of averages. For every 20 no, you're going to get a yes. So just keep going. Keep going. You'll figure it out. So then you get used to being comfortable with rejection really quick, and you don't hang on to it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, okay, great, move, because you're just continuously looking for the yes.
So true.
Yeah, so you just don't have time to sit and labour it. And I think people can get caught up in that, and then it can get like taking it personal, and then like being told to F off out of a shop. That was an eye-opener because I thought, wow, you're actually serving customers and you're in a shop where you're But this is actually what what's going on internally. I don't know, I might have caught them on a bad day. You just never know. But definitely, I remember it. And then getting kicked out of Ashburton, that was great. So we did a road trip. After 6 months, I had a team. I recruited a team.
Wow.
And they said, right, we're saturated Christchurch. We need to move the stock through the country.
What were you guys selling?
We need a road trip. It was before the warehouse. So before the warehouse, it was all those kinds of goods, novelty goods.
Yeah.
So like first aid kits, knife sets, makeup kits. I remember this butterfly kit that I thought was so cool. Butterfly kit, it's like $20. I'd make 3. So you moved and hustled and
Yeah.
So
how did you get kicked out of Ashburton? Sleepy
started
little
on one
Ashburton.
side, I know. We were doing a road trip down to Dunedin to set up a branch, and I said, let's just stop off on the way, and then just move some of the products. So we started on one side of the block. Halfway around, they said, oh, you need to go to the Borough Council. And I said, why? And they said, oh, because it's illegal what you're doing. I said, oh, okay. So I go to the Borough Council and they said, no hawking. I said, we're not actually hawking. We're just, selling, because we were already told what to say when you're, we're handling objections, overcoming objections. And then we ended up leaving.
Borough Council?
Yeah, the Borough Council, the Ashburton Council.
Oh, the council itself.
Yeah, the council.
Right.
Yeah, you can't be. But it's interesting how we started on one side and halfway around, we're told, go straight to the, Sleepy Ashburton.
Okay, so how did you get into the corporate world?
Was through,
Talking about ASPAC, but
we talked
Well,
before, pre-ASPAC. So ASPAC
pre-ASPAC.
because ASPAC followed travel,
Mm.
following up on that travel dream that I had back in high school. So I had meandered along the way
Okay.
into door to door, and I was there for 2 years. It would have been a couple of years there,
Door to door?
door to
Yeah,
door.
yeah.
But I also, out of that, my mum was like, you need to do something like concrete. This is not, so I ended up going and doing it, like gaining skills. I thought, okay, what was I good at? What did I do in high school? Did the secretarial course. Then I ended up going and getting a job with Courage. Karen and Richard Todima had Courage computer training.
Oh, okay.
And I think they were one of the early computer training companies, because I went to Adept, which is where Fyfe is. Fyfe is now. Adept was next door, so where that motorbike shop is
Yes.
on the ground, that was Adept Secretarial Services. So I went there
Mm.
and did a secretarial course, got all my typing speed, understood. I mean, this is going way back.
Mm.
And then got a job at Courage through who's still one of my best friends today. And she's got the dairy in Hampshire.
Oh, okay.
So Rena,
The one in the main block of shops?
Yeah.
Oh,
the Lalu's, she's a Lalu.
the Pacific family?
No, there's where on Hampshire Street
Yeah.
in Aranui,
Yeah.
the heart of, there's a dairy. There's 2 dairies, I think. So one of them's been there forever.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's the Lalu family. And so, Rena and I met at that secretarial course.
Oh.
Just been, ever since, we've just been so,
Wow.
it's amazing who you've encountered, who I've met and encountered along the way. But from there, her and I went to a travel course, which was Sir George Seymour, and I didn't get in. So there was her, myself, and another girl, Kirsten. Kirsten went to Girls High. So 3 of us go into Sir George Seymour College, and they interviewed all of us, and both of them had the stories, and I had no story. So they sat there and they were like, oh, so tell us about your childhood. Have you ever been on, like, we've been to Disneyland. Both of them were like, we went to Disneyland, we went on holidays, we did this, my family took us, and that's why we've always loved travel and why we want to go to travel. And I'm like, I took a ferry and a train to Auckland, and that was really great.
Yeah.
Like, I've flown to Auckland, I went to Rainbow's End. No. So I didn't get in, they got in.
Yeah.
And I think even that handling
Right.
those objections of there's a lot that goes on with that, but I still persisted anyway.
Yeah.
And got in there and got into the work. So, but before travel, I was at Courage. Yeah, and then moved on. So I went straight from Courage to Tāmaki,
Yeah. ASPAC.
and then as PEC. And then once I had a ceiling, I would just be, I need to go. So I wouldn't stay for the sake of staying.
Yeah.
I would stay for the sake of growth.
Yeah.
So if there was opportunity to grow, either in that position or another position in the same company, then I would stay. But if my growth expired and there was no opportunity to move, then I would move.
Yeah.
And leave, regardless of what the paycheck was, regardless of what the yeah.
And do you think it was all building towards you starting your own business? Like, did you always think that?
I never
That you
thought,
wanted to be a business owner, run your own business?
I never thought that I wanted to run my own business, but I knew towards, especially towards the end, that sitting and towing the line in a 9 to 5 wasn't for me. And I think the last straw came from when I was in corporate, and I've worked in this role for what have been about 8 years, where I was looking after New Zealand and part of Australia. At that time, I was sort of overseeing health and safety, quality management, environmental management at the time, and then I was managing KPIs. And then when there was a values conflict, that's where I was like, there's just like that whisper of like, it's time to move. And I've done that so many times over my career that it was like just a no-brainer. I'm moving on, and that's when I left there and then decided to consult.
Yes.
So, and funnily enough, I actually was looking after my mum, did some consulting. I didn't do the consulting, that wasn't a structured path. I was working when Wigram was functional as an airport. My mum had Alzheimer's, so I was looking after her. So I relocated back from Auckland back to Christchurch to look after mum, help look after mum. Took on a job at Wigram, putting travel packages together and then marketing, back into marketing again. And then from there, my role was made redundant. And it felt like, oh my gosh, this is the end of the world. It really felt like that, even though
you'd come
through so many rejections. I
wow.
thought that muscle was really strong, but I think it was because it was an industry. I'm passionate about travel, but I felt like because there was 2 I think that were made redundant, and I thought why is the only 2? But it's because of the role that we're cutting from the top. So the senior roles and the CE ended up taking and absorbing the role that I was doing. And I remembered him saying to me, do you know what, one day I think you're going to thank me for this, because I think something good will come from it. And at the time we had a pilot, we had helicopters out there, and a pilot sitting on the top floor who was bored and wanted to be flying in the air, and he wasn't making any money. So he said to me, what are you going to do next? And I said, I'm going to go consult. I'm going to go help travel businesses, maybe help them with systems, set up and manage how they run their business. And then he said, what about if you came and started with ours? So they were so his boss owned quite a chunk of Cathedral Square, like real estate, had a few bob in the bank.
Yeah.
And so this is the real haves and the have-nots. So he came from a rural farming sort of background, Scottish. And then the pilot was like, I want to be in the air. I said, okay, what's the problem? He goes, well, I'm not getting my hours. I said, so what are you thinking? And he said, well, I think we should do some like what you've been doing with the DC3s, create packages so that I can continue to fly. So that was what I pitched. So he said, can you put something together? Pitched it to to the owner, and that was my entry into consulting.
Wow.
That was the first time I started consulting. Had no idea what I was doing, no clue, no idea whatsoever. I just knew that I want to be independent now.
So that hit of redundancy quickly sort of faded away because you found a new...
Because I found it, and it was just so rapid.
Wow.
Yeah, it was rapid. And it was because he was in the same, but I said to him, I won't see you again. Because he would come down if he was like, Italy said, not doing anything, and we'd say, what are you up to? And I'd go, oh, just finishing off some work. Do you want to go for a black? Yeah, we'll jump in the helicopter and just cruise around this. It was like, these are the kinds of things, it was fun.
Yeah.
But he was getting more flying time.
Yeah.
So it was, how can we create more flying time for you?
Yes.
So seeing an opportunity and then creating a solution to that. But that was the first slice or taster of, okay, so I can create. I don't have a paintbrush, or I may not sculpt, but this is the way that I can create. Yeah.
Wow.
So creating, seeing a problem and then helping to solve it.
So when was this? When did this happen? How old were you?
Far
When,
out.
in your journey?
So that would have been, I would have been around late 20s at that point.
Wow.
So late 20s.
So you've been consulting for a long time.
Late 20s.
That's amazing.
Then I went into, because I suffered cabin fever.
Okay. Yeah.
It was like, it's quite lonely work. So I
Yes, it
definitely
is.
think, people say, I'm
You're a
going to be
people
my own
person,
boss.
yeah.
And it sounds all like amazing. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Because you're wearing 1,000 hats. And there's no annual leave and no sick leave. And you need to, so it's like, we're back to the commission again.
Yeah.
Back to commission only.
Yeah.
But it's on you.
Yeah.
Everything starts and finishes and ends with you.
Yeah.
Your effort. So even when I think about, at the time, a lot of my work was going in once a week, meeting with, seeing what was needed, and then coming back, and it was like project work.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, I need to do something else. So I actually went back to a debt because I saw an ad in the paper saying, because I was thinking, I need to do something where I'm around people. And I wanted to go back and give back. Like I felt that pull to do something to give back. And I saw a debt was looking for a tutor part-time.
Oh, okay.
So I went in for the interview, got the job, but that was where Fyfe is now. So they had moved from the building next door to upstairs.
Oh, okay.
So
Bigger space?
in that room, the space now, so I went up those stairs every day. So I went up those stairs. And all the time people are like, oh my gosh, the stairs. I'm like, yes, I came up these stairs way back when I was tutoring. So I was business and computing tutor.
Right.
And taking all of the, especially a lot of people that couldn't, either young kids that didn't fit into school weren't going to uni, but they were too young to get the dole. So they would come in and do these, like a TOPS course, government funded course.
Yeah.
So that's where I was for a bit. Yeah. Wow. And then I went from there into corporate. So the consulting work came to an end, and I went into, but I was still doing some work on the side. So it's like being a real quilt blanket of different roles, different opportunities, because I would just go with, I'd move, the minute I've done that,
With the
I need to move.
opportunities.
Yeah. And I would be asked to come into different roles that I used to be, like other versions of me. So I was in recruitment, I worked for Drake and Otahu for years, helping our people get into work, like helping them put them into jobs and just finding opportunities to move our people into work, because I knew what we have. Like even my mum, I think if she had that opportunity, that's the block, or the obstacle is access and knowledge, and then the ability to apply that knowledge. So having access in the first place, because constantly there's the, I don't know what I don't know, so I didn't know I could do that. Like I didn't know there were free flights. How would I know that? So it's, you only know what you know until you don't, and then you do better or do something differently with that opportunity or with that knowledge and application. So so there's lots. I feel like there's been a whole bunch of different things, because when I travel, I went to shipping.
Right.
Funnily enough, the guy I worked with in travel, I'm still very close friends with today. So my travel family, who was, I feel like a Niuan, a Samoan, and a Samoan Niuan, walk into a travel. There were three of us, and we're still friends to this day. Wow. He's moved into media now, but I went over to shipping after I left there. I thought, I'm moving. I've done everything I can in this space. Moved to shipping, and I saw this woman who was working opposite me. She was ops, I was sales. And then I said to her, what's your surname? You look familiar. And she told me her surname. It was his sister that ended up working with shipping. So very small, right? But these providential moments have always happened. So I was like, okay, all right, I'm where I'm meant to be for now, until I'm not. And then at that point, that's when I ended up leaving, because I was going to move back to Christchurch then. Yeah. But I ended up going into recruitment. Right. So I worked for Drake in the industrial sector. There's a whole story to that. That was amazing. But I went temping first.
So this all happened before you moved down and worked at Wigram.
Yeah. Because that was all happening in succession of, at that time, on a personal front, my partner at the time was in Baghdad, serving in Baghdad, and then I was sort of like becoming super independent in my own right. And, then I realised, okay, this is not it. Went for my first trip to Samoa, 98, through work. So I was at the time going on for Mills, Fiji, Samoa. So it got to the point where I didn't want to see another airport. Yeah. And I got really sick of travelling. Oh. Yeah, I actually had enough. So
I wouldn't be able to tell today. Yeah.
Do you know what that was the most ironic part, was I said, I'm getting out of travel. Yeah. I've had enough. I don't want to see another airport. I don't want to, nothing. And yet, when I look at what's happened, it feels like it's followed me. Yeah. Anyway, because to do what I want to do, I still need to move. I still want to get on the hip, lose the extension belt.
So tell me about Amplify-You.
Yeah.
You know, when did you start that? You know, you've been running this business for a long time.
A long time. And it's gone through lots of different iterations over the years.
Okay.
But actually that came up, Amplify-You came up when I was working at Wigram. Because I was thinking, what am I going to do? This is when I started thinking about, when I was given the notice that my role's redundant. And then I was sitting with the marketing guy that I hired to bring in. Him and I were just brainstorming ideas out. And he was like, what would you do? What would you call it if you were going to? And so, yeah, I came up with the name then.
Wow.
I said, I think that's what the consulting side of it started. But it was a concept at that point. So I was thinking, well, what am I going to do next? What's the next steps for me? And he had come from a marketing agency in the city. So we were drumming these ideas, and that was, again, put on the back burner, and I actually went and did work.
Yeah.
So I couldn't be sitting in this lovely vision, man. It's like, go make money. Still got to pay your rent.
Yes.
Still got to do these things. And so it wasn't until that contract had finished, and then I was doing that work with Adept, that I then took on another role that was, I thought, I need to do something that's fun and that there's people. And I always said, I'm not going into a role I've been in before. So I wouldn't go back to the same thing. That's why the industries are so varied. And I thought, I've always wondered what it's like to be in hospo. Never been in hospo. And at that stage, that's when I applied for a role at Fox and Furrow.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it was PA to the GM. And I thought I can do that with my eyes shut. But it was the industry, like it was the environment I wanted to be around and understand what are the workings of hospo, what's the industry like. So that curiosity part, and I'm still learning and growing. Even if I don't directly want to be serving drinks at a bar, but actually just to understand the workings of the industry was what piqued my interest. And I thought it would be fun, and it was so much fun. So much fun. So yeah, I started in Riccarton, which is where the role was, and then I slowly moved it to Shirley, to the Palms, because I was living on Marshlands at the time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, actually, it's better for me to work out of the Palms. And then I was like working remote. So I'd come in. Yeah, it was great. So good. Until they sold.
Oh,
So once they sold the business, then I finished there.
yeah.
And I ended up working in corporate,
Okay.
going into corporate project management.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was pretty much the last stop. But when I was in hospo, he had a coach and said, oh, do you want to go and see my coach? And I said, actually, I think how coaching works is you're meant to go and see the coach. The transformation is for you. It's not for, you can't.
It's not for your PA.
You can't offer it. You can't delegate the transformation to me. But I said, but I'm more than happy to. I'm not complaining. Because I was always interested in personal development and professional development, even way back then. So I go and see his coach for a half-day workshop, and I thought, yeah, just not my vibe at all. And he said, what do you think? What do you think? And I said, yeah, no, it's not my vibe. And he said, yeah, that's what a lot of the managers here are saying. I said, well, I would listen to your managers if they're saying it. Then, yeah, it's just not my vibe. And he goes, well, who would be? Because we want to do some strategic planning of the business. And I said, actually, I heard about a coach that where I just got made redundant from. He was seeing this particular coach, and I said, but I know that she offers executive coaching packages. And he goes, well, why don't you sign up with her? Let's get all these things done that we want to make all these changes. Because I went and pitched a proposal and said, this is what I would do if this was my business, this is what I would do. And he said, no one's ever had that conversation with me before. And I said, probably because no one's ever been interested in like business management systems and how they run, how they can be efficient. Anyway, I ended up going into coaching with this woman, signed up, he paid for it. And then I did exactly what he wanted to do, was to transform their business at that leadership level with the HR systems, training systems for all the staff. In that moment, because I said, we need to talk more money as well. So I've never been afraid to ask for the money, and I think a lot of that came from the commission-only work.
Yeah.
So you do learn to be quick about it and not muck around with it and not bringing emotion into it as well, but actually knowing that what that's worth and then staying on that. Like, don't let it go. So we ended up having a chat and a discussion. I think it was my second session with her. She was so straight up the gut. So I had heard that about her. But on the second session, I said to her, do you know what? I love this work. This is what I think I was born to do. I was made for this. And that's where Amplify-You started. Because she then held me to account and said, good, then by our next session, I want you to start the business.
Wow.
You need to go register it. I want you to go and, so don't just talk, so it's taking the talk to the walk. I was like, oh, that. Like, I actually have to, wait, what? She was like, yeah. So that's the action.
So when was this?
February, 1st of February, next year will be 20 years.
Wow.
since Ampliyou was established.
2006. Wow.
First
Awesome.
of Feb 2006, yeah.
Awesome.
And that was having a coach next to me to say, take it from the concept, because it had been floating for a while. As these ideas do, swirl, float, until we actually bring it down to earth and
100%.
do something with it.
Action.
Yeah.
Far out.
So that was it. No idea again, no clue. It's okay. You'll figure it out. Yeah.
And you did. Yeah.
And still figuring it out. Anything figured out, but it's all figuring and having faith in yourself and trusting yourself to know that you can figure it out. You'll figure it out. But I don't get it twisted. I definitely come village.
And where do you see Ampliyou going for the next 20 years?
I'm not sure. I would love to see it. I have been asked to, why don't you set up an academy? There's been lots of avenues I could take it, but very much like Catherine yesterday, having a clear vision of what you want it to be versus what everyone else wants it to be.
Yeah.
And there's been many places that I've been pulled in, directions I've been pulled into. It can be quite tough to block the noise, but I'm quite good at being able to know what I'm doing, what life I want to live. Like, I don't want to be burning out. I don't want to be, there's different things that I connect to. What am I passionate for? What can I help make a difference in our community?
Because what are you doing right now in terms of Ampliyou's core business? And then where do you think it might head in the short, medium, long term? The core business, your kaupapa, what you set out to achieve. Have you achieved that through your core business? And where do you want to go with this?
Yeah.
Right on the ground.
All it was about ever was helping people align to their truth and then live from there. That's in the essence, in a nutshell. It was because I think about all the different roles that I've been in.
Yeah.
And then I found that having that quilt blanket of different experiences was a privilege. All of it was such a privilege to be able to get an eye into different industries, to figure out what I wanted to do, but actually having the freedom to do all of that. That's one of my core values, is to be free to choose what you want to be able to do, but also understand that basing it on strengths. So the science of it is why I trained in different modalities of coaching, one of them being Strength Finders or Clifton Strengths. So Gallup have done tons of research around what helps people to perform better within organisations from an individual level, understanding your strengths, and then knowing how to apply it. Well, you can apply it, but the work that they've done around when people are engaged in their top 5 strengths, you're going to see higher productivity, people are more happy in their work, so, job satisfaction, personal satisfaction goes up. And I've seen that time and time again, which is why I'll stay doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So when I took
20 years,
I could just keep doing that, which is why I haven't gone anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yes, you could go somewhere else, but I've been to so many different places that I'm like,
Yeah.
and it's not all that it's cracked out to be often.
Yeah.
So I think being real true to yourself and knowing if the solopreneur is where I want to be and that's what I've continued to be, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So it might not lead to an academy, it might not lead to bringing on staff. You've been successful the way Ampliyou's been for the last 20 years, and there's no, if it ain't broke, why fix it?
That's it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's still staying true to that mission, like initially, igniting passion and purpose to prosper, which is the core of Ampliyou, is igniting passion and purpose. What are you passionate about? What's your purpose, like your why? So igniting that, and then journeying alongside, but always from a perspective of support and holding that space. That, I think of all the people that I've worked with, and one particular example that stood out was, I don't even know people do this for a living. And then that gives me hope, because I think, wow, that's awesome to hear that from a Pasifika or Māori person, Indigenous person, to say, I feel like I've got a support person in my corner that I don't have to explain anything to. You just get me. You get me, you know me, and I don't need to go through, all defences are down. But that also happens with non-Pasifika or Māori as well. So I say humanity is who I serve.
Yes.
Anybody who wants to move or take action, they just need that support to get there.
Awesome.
Such a privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah.
20 years in business. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that celebration in February.
Yes, I won't be in the country.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, on a
It wouldn't surprise me.
You're like,
If you don't mind, I'd love to circle back
Yes.
a wee bit and try to have a conversation around getting into your first home.
yes.
And, where did you finally reconnect with that goal?
Yes.
When did that, who sparked, or who or
When my rent
what
went up.
sparked that?
When my rent went up.
Your rent went up.
So I said I will never pay over $200 a week in rent.
Wow.
And there was this,
And you were trying to live in Okilani?
oh yeah, but we lived in Army. So we
yes,
don't,
of course.
because they initially wanted us to go to Devonport.
Yeah.
So I went and had a look at Devonport and said, no way, not living here. It's like squashed to up, like it just was too,
Okay.
there was no space, there was no grass, no area. So yeah, what is this living? So we moved to Papakura.
Yes.
So that became, they weren't using it as a functional army base anymore, but the housing around there was, yeah, so we had space, you had grass, lawn, very similar to where I remember here.
Yep.
So, and that was like 135,
Mm.
it's like nothing a week, 135. But by the time I moved down, I was at that stage, I had moved to support my mum.
Yes.
That was the core reason for relocating back
Mm.
into Christchurch. And then after that, just thinking about when I had been made redundant and I was living out by Shirley, so up Marshlands Road, but it was in a motel that converted into units. So they converted them into independent units.
Mm.
And actually that's how I met Tanya, Maka. That's when they moved down from Tamaki.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how we became neighbours, and we're still very firm friends today.
Yes.
So just really cool, the spaces that I've moved in, lived in, and then had really awesome people that have been part of that journey as well.
Mm.
And in that unit, it was, I think it was 170 originally, then it went up to 180 and then up to 190, and I thought, I'll never pay over 200.
Mm.
And then I started seeing who I'm with now, my husband.
Yes.
And then we started dating and talking about what we were going to do going forward. And then at that time, I was still saving, thinking about what sort of, because I could see that the rent was going to increase and go over the 200. And the minute it went over 200, I gave my notice. I said, we need to look. And so we looked. Yeah, we just started looking and hunting
Yeah.
for a property. And then I ended up in Richmond.
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did, directly opposite what used to be Henry Africa's.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
Directly across the road from there.
Yeah.
Old school Christchurch, you'll remember.
What was it like? Like, when was this? And, what was...
It was 2000, yeah.
Oh, okay, the year 2000.
Early 2000, what do you mean early 2000?
What was the housing market like? What do you feel like you had to put down as a deposit? What were the banks like to work with?
It was like 10%
Mm.
at the time. And the thing is that knowledge is power.
Mm.
So I even think about then, I didn't have anybody then, because all of my mum's sisters there had all passed.
Mm.
So it wasn't like I could go and sit with
Yeah.
them and say, oh, what happened when you were, how did you, nothing. So I think about even at that time, I didn't really have a strong understanding of going and purchasing a home, buying a home.
Process.
Yeah, the process itself and what was the best way. But the one thing I do think I must have some Scottish in my blood, because then again, it could be from those commission only days, is that you definitely don't want to overpay if you don't have to.
Mm.
So I've always been like bargain hunter. And I think it also comes from growing up with lack. Like you had to make ends meet and stretch a dollar around the block 5,000 times and make it work. So it was that, I think that really helped to make sure that we were doing our own due diligence, like checking with every bank, what are they offering, what is it that they've got, and not falling into. And also my husband came from his family, he got his first home at 19.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Gee,
very
right.
different lives,
Yeah.
very different lives.
Yeah.
And I think it was, again, through sheer hard work, but also having the blueprint. So his parents had theirs, their parents had theirs. So when you've got like the succession of knowledge being passed down and you grew up in that, you know how to do that fluently. Whereas for me it was, I was coming from the bargain, getting the best property, getting the best bang for buck, and then how's this going to be when we flip it, or at some point when this isn't the forever home.
Yes.
So I'd look at it from an investment perspective.
Yeah.
which is always looking for how is this going to be a sound investment? Is it going to be a good, so that just happened to be it. It was one of 7 townhouses.
Yeah. Do you remember how much you bought it for? What was the...
I think it was like 240.
And do you remember what multiplier of your income, with you and your husband's income together, what was that a multiplier of? Yeah.
I'm not numbers.
I'm very
so
interested in
the
that.
one.
Yeah.
Just so ironic.
I can look it up. Yeah. But say it's a 240.
It's 240.
Yeah, it was 2 to 3 bedroom.
3.
Yeah, that's good. That's
3
good.
bedroom, 240.
Yeah,
like we'd gone and looked for so long.
Yeah.
So it would have been 6 months, I'd say 6 months that we were hunting. Some close calls. But I say, people are saying to me, oh, you'll know Marina, you'll know the police will speak to you. I'm like, well, very quiet. These places. I'm like, very, very quiet on this front. But when we walked into that, it was like, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I thought location's great,
Yes,
city fringe,
Yeah.
awesome. I looked at that side of Stanmore, it gave me Ponsonby vibes, and I thought this is actually really cool. This area will be such a great area, up and coming as it has, like thinking it now, how much it's growing. It's like, I should have held, but it is what it is. The quakes happened,
Yes.
and then it was wiped out and then rebuilt.
Yeah.
And then we had it as like so we relocated, bought a second property, and over where we are now, and then just had it as a rental property.
Yeah.
And then one of the tenants bent the kitchen down, and I said, yeah, I'm done. I'm done being like a landlord, I'm done. I'm not into,
Wow.
It's just people not treating a home like it's their own.
Yeah.
And finding the right tenants is quite tough
Yeah.
to find the right. Yeah. So,
What was your, you mentioned 10% deposit. Were there any learnings from trying to get to that 10% that you could share with our people?
I think the learnings from the 10%, I mean, now I'm not sure what it is. I think it's 20. Is it 20 now?
You can still get a mortgage with 10%, but you go under the Kainga Ora first home loan program. But even just to save 10% is a really good goal for a lot of people.
Yes,
though. Yeah.
I think just saving, period, but getting into the habits of, it's the habit.
Did you set a certain amount or a percentage of your income? Did you say this is, because this was before KiwiSaver. Yeah.
Do you mean to say towards it? That came from sheer banking, saving.
Right.
And I told you about reading that book was so pivotal. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, read that. So I think about knowledge is power, but only in application.
When did you read The Richest Man in Babylon?
I read The Rich Man in Babylon, Sharks, many, many years before that. So it was all at the cultural retuning.
Yeah.
And I think about even the first job I had outside of after the secretarial training course and then going into the business computing course that I did and then working for Courage. So I did the course with them and then ended up working for them. Even at that point, that was where I'd spoken to that guy who I heard had a lot of property. And he said,
that's what I was going to ask you next.
He said, no, he goes, I wouldn't if I were you. That's really, really... So I think it was around 2000 that I read the book. Because I know it was one of my best friends, Peter, who I worked with in recruitment, and ended up coming from my village. So he was the one that said to me, have you ever read this book? And I said, no. But he knew I loved reading. And so I read that book and I got kicked off planes because I would just sit and I'd just be glued to it and everyone's gone. Some people just get off the plane like straight away. It's like, you're going nowhere. Where are you going? Like,
gotta wait for your
you're
bags.
still on pen.
See you down there.
We're in the 28th row. You're not going to say, have a seat. So I would just be glued into this book. And then, they come into clean planes. Excuse me, man. Exit. But I was so into it, and the learnings were so rich that I was like, wow, because they talked a lot about what I hear referred to as mokopuna, so a mokopuna mindset. Just don't think about, you or even your children. You think about your children as children and beyond. So that's when you're thinking about that was the same with Robert Kiyosaki said similar things in Rich Dad Poor Dad. So don't spend the core money, spend the money off that. So if the core money is me, then the child of that money, don't spend that either. You're spending the mokopuna of that child, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so that made a lot of sense. That way your core would always be protected. And so I think not coming from a financial background, actually just another one when I was in hospo and the GM said to me, I went to go and buy something, and he said, "Oh, what do you buy?" And I pulled out cash. And he said, "You don't use cash." I thought, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, you don't use cash." And I said, "What do you use then?" And he said, "Credit cards." I said, "No." So to me, credit cards were like, they're so bad. And I'd been hopeless with credit card, didn't manage it well, just through my own learnings of going into debt on credit card and then getting out of it again and saying, nope, I don't want to get into that. People would say, cut it up, freeze it, whatever. I just cut it up and never went back to a credit card. It wasn't the credit card, it was the way I was using the credit card, and I never knew that. So if I go back to knowledge is power, but only an application, only when we apply it. So I didn't know what I didn't know. And he said to me, no, you live off your credit card. You should live, everything should, all roads lead to Rome. Everything should be coming out of that credit card, and you should be building points, and you should be building. So that was amazing. So again, from these different places and spaces I ended up in, I really did reap some good nuggets and good learnings from others that have already blazed that trail in some way. But he said, I don't spend anything at all in cash. And that was way back before, we're going cashless now.
Yes.
But it was way before then. Whatever I was working with cash and money, I felt like, why isn't this commonly known? It was the same with reading The Richest Man in Babylon. When I read that, I found it such a profound insights that I thought, why isn't our government setting up learnings for us in high school, and why isn't this out there? This knowledge that I've just gained, which was an amazing.
You've inspired me to read the book.
But I've given it even to clients, like coaching clients. I'd say to them, if they're struggling with financials, I'd say, have you read this book? And they'd say, no. I said, go read it and then come back and let me know. And they'd come back and they'd go, it's just transformed the way they spend, the way they understand their relationship to money. And I say, it's not money, it's energy, period. How we do anything is how we do everything. So that's what I was saying, habit. Once you form it one place, it's going to spread to everything that you do. It doesn't just apply to one. It's all, which is great.
Just as we wrap up, a final question around your learnings with managing a mortgage. You bought the house in essentially almost 26 years ago. Are there any learnings, any tips and tricks that you can share with us on how to manage a mortgage? A lot of people are struggling, especially when the interest rates went up, probably peaked. Was it last year or the year before? And they've kind of cooled off now, but cost of living has gotten worse. So for a lot of our homeowners out there, our Pacific homeowners, so we've inspired our Pacific people that don't own homes, set a target, set a vision, work towards it.
Yes.
But for our Pacific people that are new into home ownership, that are really struggling to manage their mortgage, what are some of the learnings that you've
It's so broad. Yeah, it's a good question, but I think it's super broad in understanding what is it that you're not managing, or what part of that mortgage, be nice to know what are the barriers or what are the blocks around that management, because we could be mismanaging it from a number of perspectives. Often, a lot of the time, it's going back to income, expense, and it's curbing the expense and reducing, which means sacrifice.
Yeah.
And so, yes, if interest rates are going up, then we need to adjust things. And it's difficult to do. It's easy to say it, but it's difficult to implement it when you've got responsibilities in multiple places.
Yes.
Yeah.
I kind of was wondering, that old boss of yours that mentioned he only uses his credit card.
Yes.
And he's saving, I guess, cash, and then he's probably paying it off at the end of the month, the credit card. I know some people utilise credit cards and that saved income towards the offsetting the interest charged on their mortgages through offsetting facilities and accounts. That's only some of the banks offer. So I just wondered if that was something that you guys were utilising, but you guys are just using pure raw pay down.
Yeah, pay down, smash it down, but not completely.
Yeah.
Keep it floating. Yeah, definitely not completely. And I think that that's the benefit of the knowledge that, my husband's got, that their whole life was spent, as he will constantly say, with the violins out. We were always at the properties mowing grass, mowing lawns, painting walls. And I said, great, you should have gone raspberry picking instead, like to go doing our school holidays. So when I go to I was so for stories, but it was like everyone's at some level of struggle, but
Yes.
you also had this knowledge that so many don't have
Yeah.
and don't have access to, which is why it's great to see so many organisations starting to teach and educate.
Yeah.
So educating, this is how to better. So even with the credit card, that just did not even cross my mind. I thought, who even lives off their credit card? Why would you live off your credit card? But it was actually, oh, right, I have to create a habit of discipline.
Yes.
Because just because I'm living off the credit card, you don't spend that money. So if the income's not free for all, go have a party. It's like, no, you need to like not touch it.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by the sacrifice or the discipline needs to be increased. But it's a great habit for everything to learn that. Is it always easy? No. But factor in some that you can go and live life. Live life. I think it's, we're in here for a minute, so make the most of it while we're here.
Yes.
But from the home ownership perspective, I think, I feel like it's very much like my parents' or grandparents' generations, where they paid next to nothing for their property. I was just talking to my uncle about this in Otara. How much? About $7,000. $7,000 for your home.
I think it was like, I asked my grandmother that as well, on my Baoangi side. And I think, I can't remember what figure, but let's just say 21,000, let's just say. And I said, oh, do you remember how much you and Grandpa were earning? And I can't remember what she said, but it was like, the house was only like 3 times, the income, something like that. 2.5 to 3 times the income. And I thought, well, this is the issue. Is that, the new generations coming through, they're paying 6 to 8 to 10 times, if you're in Okilani or, Nelson, Tauranga, those sorts of places. It's just gone through the roof as a multiplier of the income.
Yes.
So different times,
Crazy.
it's different times, but we can still, if we think outside the box. And
definitely.
like
And I think collectively as families, and I think about this in my own family, just saying like the generation, the current generation, it's on us to set up and make things, set something up from a legacy perspective for the next generation to come through, teach, we know better, do better, and then teach better. Whereas I feel like
mindset.
it is a mindset because I think that thinking of like not having that education, not having the conversations around the table before, they can be had now. We can be having them now with the access to information, to knowledge that we do have. But again, in the application of that, what's that even going to look like? What can that look like? So getting that or disseminating that out and then letting people choose what they want to do. Like you can go in now, there was no KiwiSaver back then, there was none of these options that I think, while yes, it might be harder, I think that what is harder than a state of mind? Because I think it's never about the lack of resources, it's in the words of Tony Robbins, but it's in the lack of resourcefulness. And we're resourceful people. We came via waka, va'a. So we did it then, we can still do it now. But as long as we're not subscribing into that deficit mindset or that scarcity mindset, it's like we do need to think about what are some other ways? How else can I get there if not this way? What other ways? So increasing income, that's why we talked about business, like, economical development for our people as well to increase their income. But learn the habits, because it doesn't matter how high the income is if we're not putting the habits down.
Very true.
It'll go out the back door, just like it is now. So getting discipline around that, and it's not going to be comfortable, and it's going to be hard, but it's a good hard. It's a good hard, not quite a 75 hard, but that's hard. Have you ever done that?
No, I haven't.
Random
No, I
subject
haven't.
change? Yeah, I did it a couple of times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I think that even the credit card side of things transformed everything.
Yeah.
The amount of points, just thinking about points for travel, it's literally like an investment. That's what and I've never lived any other way since. So everything still comes out of credit card.
Yeah.
Everything is lived on credit card, pay the balance by the due date.
You just know now how to manage it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's back to discipline.
Yeah.
Sacrifice discipline. It's just, what do you want to sacrifice? What is the trade-off? So it's like, if I want to go and do that thing, then that means that I won't make that happen. So we always have the power to choose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And if anyone's stuck on that, feel free to hit me up.
Yes.
.com.nz.
Thank you very much, Fyfe Lava, Marina, for sharing your story. sharing your advice, your knowledge, you know, sharing this quilt of experiences. Yeah, it's been amazing. Yeah, whaftai lava for coming on to Koko Chats, and I'm sure we're going to have another one in the future.
Yeah.
Whaftai lava.
Whaftai lava, Danté, and keep up the great work.
Mm,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right. That's it.